My name's Spencer Whiting. A lot of people know me as Spenny or Gimbal God. And it's 40 degrees, it's Bluebird, and we're back in Mammoth for, this is kind of I'd call it a little bit of a workcation trip. I feel like since I lived here full time almost a decade ago now, this is like the first trip we've kind of gotten to come up here and take some fun laps. We're doing a couple little shoots here and there, but it's been all time, and if it's not going to be snowing, you really can't beat 40 degrees in Mammoth. This is why all the East Coasters call us soft, Since 2021, really, there's been a lot of every year I kind of have a big project I'm doing. And last season it was a little impromptu, but Mason Lemery and I did a project together. And then this year, it's my first year kind of transitioning out of not working for a couple partners. So it opened up the opportunity to just kind of do a season with Brandon. And I would say, since we've both been professionals, I started my film career and he's been, doing his snowboard thing. We've never really gotten to team up and work together more than a one-off random trip. So I'm really excited. We're doing a lot of YouTube stuff, kind of putting stuff out in real time. There's no bigger project on the docket right now, but we'll kind of, play it by ear. We have all the tools if we want to go that route, but it's been pretty fun just snowboarding and kind of just riding resorts and seeing where the snow is. It's been a good time. I hated Brandon the first second I saw him because I remember I was on chair 6 and I saw this kid do a perfect back 7 on the middle jump, and I feel like in that era it was T-Flan and Worm were kind of the top dogs, but then Garrett Weiner and me were kind of the top dogs on the Mammoth snowboard team. And then this fucker shows up and he was so good. And it was 6 months where I feel like he kind of he was hanging with our friend Andre and I was kind of just hanging with my crew, and we didn't really crew up. And then it was there was one Grand Prix where we kind of became friends. We're riding practice together. But that was, that was almost 16, 17 years ago. So it's been a minute, and it's, I still think it's a trip every day. I kind of gave up on my dream of pro snowboarding, and then it kind of came full circle through filmmaking. That wasn't necessarily the blueprint or by any means. And then Brandon's been able to have a successful career in snowboarding. So it's been kind of cool to, I don't know, in a way feel like you haven't had a job, even though it's a lot of there's a lot of work in the back end that nobody in an office wants to hear about. It's been super fun, and very grateful for what we get to do up here. And look at this. This is insane. Pretty much from I would say 12 years old till 20 years old, I was super just in a weird tunnel of contests are kind of the only way to be a pro snowboarder, which I think it's a big part of it, but there are a lot of other avenues. And for me, it was just, you can chase yourself down a rabbit hole, but I never wanted to be the dude who was 28 still at Rev Tours. So it's there's goods and greats, and kind of figure out who you are. I believe sooner than later. You can always reinvent yourself, and I feel that's kind of what happened to me by accident is, honestly, Weaver here, started to teach me how to make my GoPro look a little better, and then I started getting a couple little jobs here and here to do follow cams, and one thing led to another, and I was doing a little Oakley thing, and then I met Stale, and then for what he was trying to accomplish, the follow cam was kind of the key, and him and I linked up for a couple of years, and I started to kind of work on a more staff videographer level for Oakley and Monster and GoPro, and then Battalion has me riding the boards. So it was almost I stopped trying so hard to be a pro snowboarder, and then it weirdly all kind of circled back through filmmaking, where I think I got, even though I just do straighters pretty much, I feel I just observing everyone's edging and techniques, it made me a better snowboarder. And you have to have such a kind of fighter jet reflexes, when people are hitting big jumps or features, and maybe they drift a little bit more or whatever. So you're I don't like riding with music or anything, so I could like be super in tune with kind of like what I'm filming or what's going on. But I think like in a weird way, like quitting trying to be a contest snowboarder brought me into being a filmmaker, which like weirdly made me a better snowboarder, because like a lot of my shots are more dynamic or moving. So it's not that I'm just shooting sticks, which I do shoot a lot of, whether it be in surf or the backcountry, but you know, it's like you kind of like still need to be in shape, especially if you want to do like follow cams in the backcountry, because if you have more than one rider, you're definitely working the most that day. But it's you know, it's a good way to stay in shape and be stoked and kind of be more grateful. It was always a childhood dream to, you know, live the life of a pro snowboarder, and I would say I'm 31, so I'd say at least like I made it to 31. If I could do it to 40, I'd be pretty blown away, but nothing to complain here. Straight from Forest right to South Park. Haven't done that in a while. Contest squat on the back seven. That was the first back seven of the year. I would say like at this point I've dabbled in almost every type of like way to film snowboarding. Like I started with GoPro, then I was on like DSLRs, then I was on like the Komodo. I did like a season shooting like with a Bolex, just like as a supplementary camera. And then I shot a lot of Super 8, shot a lot of sticks, shot a lot of moving things. And so like, I really like learned how to film about a decade ago through the GoPro and through my Sony. And then I've had like my Red systems for like 5 years now. And I feel like it's taken me like 10 years to like kind of learn like everything that goes into like kind of filmmaking in general. So I would say right now I'm at a loss and back to shooting on my iPhone, because I'm just like kind of just trying to like take a break and simplify things. And like I love being super mobile, so like light backpack, able to kind of pin around, do follow cams if I want, shoot handheld, or like static long lens. And like weirdly, I don't know, the iPhone with like all the new settings, it's a pretty beast of an image. So that's kind of where we've been at least like the last like 2 months or so. Kind of in the beginning of the follow cams, like I think it was with tour gear mostly, but we kind of like had this idea like, what if you shot it from the front? You know, there weren't too many people doing that at the time. And so I'd like have the rider pretty much like hold on to the pole until we got like within, you know, a certain range from the jump, and they'd let go and kind of do their thing. But it would set us up really like close in the air, where at least at the time it felt like we were trying to like get a new shot. And I think that's kind of where like sometimes I get a little bored with like, I've shot park so many times and shot so many angles, but for us like that felt like a new way to shoot. And then I feel like nowadays I just kind of adapt to really where the shadows are. And like, you know, sometimes you want to film from the front, sometimes from the back, and you kind of just, I feel like the key with like doing any type of follow cam on a mountain is just essentially like not getting your shadow in the shot, which is like quite a hard thing to do sometimes. Yeah, so like, you know, the Red systems, they don't have stabilizers built in. You can obviously put them on gimbals or whatever, but I believe like, you know, to get the most dynamic shot, you always need to keep it like light so that like you can kind of be in the spot. And so I'd shoot a lot of the Red stuff handheld, and it gives it definitely like a more commercial feel. Like the Komodo has a global shutter, the Raptor doesn't. So like, you know, there's kind of like little kind of differences between the cameras, so you can kind of pick and choose whatever is going to work best. So this is South Park, where, you know, I'd say kind of where we cut our teeth is the Groms. And, you know, I'm not really much of a jib guy anymore, so we're just gonna do it nice. Back one. I like the hip. Whoa. But it is so fun. Love all the transitions. Yeah, I'll actually go over the hip this time. But fuck the rails. God damn it. Let's see. See if I still got anything left on these things. Little sketchy. I've kind of put all my eggs into the Alaska basket. Like, I got my residency up there, my truck's up there, I got a condo up there. Except for me, it's like a 10-year, you know, idea. It's like this year, it's kind of looking a little sketchy up there. So, you know, we're not gonna push it. We'll see what happens in the next couple weeks into like March and April. But I think for me, it's like, how do we like just go make snowboarding in general a little bit more relatable, like make Alaska a little bit more relatable. And like, I think like, it's not so much about like getting the heli shot or the gnarly like line. Like there's so much you can like walk up to and like new jumps that you can build or like new zones you can go to. And I think for me in snowboarding, I'm like so much more of an adventurer than I am like just down to document the gnarliest trick or whatever. So I think for me, if I can like kind of morph like adventure into the snowboarding, it's like a pretty rad, like I think it's like way easier to get like a real story out of it. It's like, you know, like you go on like a splitboard trip or like you go on a camping trip where you're like right in the zone and you can like hike these lines or like go find these like unique like jumps or pillow stacks. And, you know, for me, I think over this next decade, like my focus is just to facilitate the greatest snowboarding that I possibly can. And, you know, I'm down to be a logistics guy and figure out, you know, how to get us all to the zone and then just kind of like take that weight off the rider. So like when they get there, it's like they can just focus on like doing what they got to do. Cause I think they're like, so many people forget like how much is like going through a rider's brain when they're like trying to go film a video part. And it's not the days of like standard or Mac Dog or like absent where like they're kind of setting everything up. And I kind of want to do that on a smaller scale, just like with my crew, and definitely not everybody is up for it. Like I'm sure like 95% of the industry would call me fucking nuts and crazy, but you know, there's a 5% of boarders out there that are down for the grind. Just everyone's a little too soft these days, you know? Yeah, I mean, I think my hot take these days would just be like, don't worry so much about the equipment or what anyone thinks, you know, just if you're having fun, if you're using your phone, a fancy camera or a GoPro, just tell a story. And, you know, my perspective, just put it out. You know, if people like it, they like it, but like, don't like hold all your energy onto that. Just like move on and do it again. And if you put enough reps in, usually like at some point you start figuring things out. I feel like that's my biggest philosophy that I've learned. Thank you guys for taking some laps with us. Hope you enjoy your time at Mammoth. Later.